making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and...
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And we have wonderful guests. And my wonderful guest today is Christopher Mathis. He's a Reiki master, and he's been doing this for over 20 years. 25, I don't remember which. But anyway, let me bring him on, and he can tell you more about his background. And then we can move on into what Reiki really is. Welcome, Christopher.
Hey, Gail, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, thank you. We had a little issues getting started here, but I think we're going to be okay.
We should be fine now. Yes, ma'am. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Well, I think it would be good if you started out with a definition of Reiki, because I don't think everybody knows what Reiki really is and how it works and the purpose of it.
Sure. Well, Reiki, it has Japanese origins, and basically Reiki is broken up into two words. It's spelled R-E-I-K-I, and the Rei pretty much means the spirit or the soul or a person's essence, and the Ki is basically energy. So it's pretty much universal life force, Reiki put together. And again, it does have Japanese origins. Many years ago, a gentleman named Makayo Yusui, and we can pull up a quick picture of him. If your moderator has that to go, it's really not that important. His name
Race. Yeah, it's Race. Race will put it up.
Yeah, his name was actually Dr. Makayo Yusui. And he kind of brought the Reiki from the west, from the east to the west. And he was born 1865 to 1926. He went to the University of Chicago. I had to look this up because, like Gail said, it's been 25 years. I've been doing this so long. And he actually had a doctorate in theology, and he kind of brought the principles of this healing method here, which has become... It's become pretty popular. So I can get into more of how it works specifically, but that's kind of really how it started.
Well, that's very interesting. Was it well received in the beginning when it was first started? Do you know? Was there any information on that?
Well, really, kind of the whole energy. As you know, especially back in 1999, that's when I got started with it in 97. Most people were more familiar with like acupuncture, which dealt with the body's meridians and energy flow. So hands-on healing was kind of like the first real healing method that came to the West. And so that's why Reiki actually became pretty popular because of that. But hospitals like Sloan Kettering kind of adopted it. A lot of their nurses work on cancer patients. So it's been pretty well received, but just like anything else, there's a lot of mystery to these types of things as far as how they work.
Well, one of the things that I find fascinating that they seem to be finding out, and they're talking more about all the time, and that is that a lot of the health issues that we have, or that people have in general, can be the result of an attachment that is causing that illness or problem or whatever. But we're not going to get into that today, but I just wanted to throw that out there because
we might towards the end, because it's really about the person's energy field. And I think most people today,
yeah, that makes sense now that you say that.
Most people today understand that we do have an energy field, an aura around us, and that we have chakras, right?
Right.
So basically, by clearing our chakras, we open up the energy flow that we have to the earth and to the universe. So when we get these blocks, either in our crown or our throat, when you can't speak, or if you have emotional issues in your lower chakras, that's kind of what the Reiki addresses. And that's the same principle as like acupuncture. It's really to kind of get the energy flowing. And there's lots of different ways to do that. But the more you get your energy flowing, the more healthy you get, the more balanced you get. And again, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And the Reiki is a very good way for somebody else to kind of come along and really address those blocks that you might have. But,
What causes blocks?
well, stress, emotional trauma, things that you might have been holding on from when you were younger, your diet. And what the Reiki addresses, to kind of go back, is that it's like a three-pronged system that it addresses the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. And
Wow.
when someone learns Reiki, they get attuned. You get three different attunements from what's called a Reiki Master Teacher. So
What does
what
attunement mean?
an attunement is, pretty much an indoctrination into a certain level of being able to bring down the energy. Because now the Reiki practitioner is really just an antenna for the healing energy, a frequency that's all over, that's kind of available to anybody.
Okay.
Just like if you had a television set, and you kind of turned on and you got all of the static, you'd need to get a cable hookup to get the picture to come in clearer.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's kind of what the Reiki practitioner is able to do. He's able to kind of hone the energy and direct it towards the person and open them up, open their chakras up. Kind of like if you went to a chiropractor, when you had all of these stiff joints and everything, when he cracks your back and he gets you all loose, he's really getting your energy flowing. Now, what happens though is that the reason that you went to the chiropractor to begin with, if you don't address that, usually tends to come back. So there's usually an underlying issue that kind of manifests itself on top of each other. Um,
Well, does Reiki Master, do they get to the bottom of the problem by interviewing the client, or how do you determine that? Because it
well,
varies. You get 10 minutes with your average MD, but now a homeopathic doctor, for example, they could spend an hour or longer with you, and they go do a very extensive interview and know much more about you probably than if they were at the homeopathic doctor versus the medical doctor. The homeopathic doctor is going to know a whole lot more about that individual than the MD.
well, exactly. Like what a Reiki practitioner, again, it really depends on who you're going to. But
Hmm.
what'll happen with the Reiki, and it happened with me, and I can share a couple of stories of working on clients over the years, is that the Reiki's good at actually bringing certain issues up to a person. Like if you have trouble like speaking, you might have a blocked throat chakra. If you're not dealing with something from your childhood, your third chakra, which is where you hold your emotions, is going to get blocked. And so, a lot of times, when a Reiki practitioner, like everybody that I've worked on over the years, they all kind of take to it differently. But one of the memories that I have, most people kind of go to sleep. But this one little old lady, when I went over her third chakra, all she did was want to talk about all of the people in her life that kind of like held her back, that didn't allow her to speak. And my goodness, I've never had such a talkative person. And when she got up off that table, she was like Rocky. She wanted to go out and face everybody that ever told her what not to do, including her husband that was waiting in the car. She's like, he didn't want me to come here today and do this, at my studio back in Saddlebrook back in the day. And it kind of, there you go. These are the
Yeah, I was gonna tell you. Why don't you put up that one Reiki one with all the different things?
Yeah, these are the different
Thank you, Liz.
areas what the Reiki can help benefit. It kind of really helps a person kind of identify some of the things that they might be holding on to, and helps you to pull them up, and really kind of by dealing with them and addressing them is the real way to release them. It's not a magic bullet. It's not going to do it for you, but it's a gentle way to kind of help you to pull a
To
lot
bring
of,
it to the surface, more
yes,
or less.
exactly, Gail, exactly.
Okay. So when it's brought to the surface, then they're able to process it, whereas before they weren't able to process it. Is
Well,
that?
yeah, you know, we tend to keep things, instead of dealing with them. It's easier to kind of store them down and push them down and really not deal with them. And as the
That's
picture is,
true.
and so it's really just like if you have a good talk, let's say with a friend, right? And you kind of like start to talk about all of the things that are bothering you, right? You just sometimes that in itself, you know, you feel better, you feel lighter. It's like, well, it's like because you literally were kind of like bringing up and releasing and talking about what was bothering you. So there's actual weight attached to our issues, to different things that are bothering us. So that's one of the benefits of Reiki. And most Reiki practitioners will tell you that they do self treatments, they do self Reiki. And I've had all kinds of things that I thought I forgot about that would come up over the years. So, you know, we're multifaceted, multi layered beings. And pretty much every experience we go through, if, you know, instead of dealing with it, a lot of times we push it down, and it's still in our energy
Yeah.
field. You know, no matter how much you don't want to deal with it, you know, that bully from high school, that mother that never let you, you know, speak your truth, the boyfriend or the girlfriend that kind of you had a rough experience with, you know, that's why we usually
What
tend to,
about past life traumas?
well, past lives can certainly come in too, but we usually have enough of this life to
Yeah.
to, to work through.
One
But
life at a time, right?
yeah, exactly. And what's going on right now, Gail, in the world is that the reason that people are kind of going a little crazy right now is that this ascension that we're going through, these solar flares are actually acting as a catalyst to really push up our issues and push things up out of us, whether you want to deal with them or not. It's almost like the sun is giving us a Reiki treatment. And that's why couples are breaking up. That's why people are quitting their jobs. You know, there's really no more time left to deal with it in the next lifetime. It's like, you know, that's why some people that have dealt with their issues are riding through these times a little easier than others that have kind of been storing stuff and pushing them down. And from what I understand now, it's sink or swim. There's no more time left. It's like, you know, so when this stuff comes up, it's like an energetic purge. You know, like do you ever get sick from eating, you know, really bad food? That stuff's coming up.
Thank goodness I have not. But
When you get food poisoning, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's honestly what it is. You literally feel like you're going to die. In fact, you know, you want to die, but what happens 5 minutes after you throw it up? You feel like $1,000,000.
Relieved.
You feel
Yeah.
relieved, and really, that's our emotional traumas that we've stored, you know, from lifetimes. You know, are really coming out now.
Do you know what I read? You can comment on this. I read that not only are we clearing our own junk, so to speak, of traumas that have impact on us, but we're also here and volunteered for. We will be helping to clear our entire ancestral line as well. Now that sounds
Sadly, yes. It's like I don't know why the hell we chose to sign up for this, but apparently, yes, that we're also clearing a lot of our ancestral karma and baggage. And we knew about it. You know, again, if you're going to buy in and
well.
believe,
I tell you what, we must have thought we were pretty darn tough to
it's like, yeah, I'd really like to revisit that, Gail, to be honest with you, because I don't remember signing up for this. Maybe it's a soul trap. You know, that's a whole separate topic, you know, that I'd like to see that contract that I signed, to be honest with you sometimes. Because, yeah, it's hard enough to deal with our own stuff. And
I
that,
don't know if I buy the actual signing of a contract, but a volunteering to become a warrior to help free humanity. I can see myself signing up for that, but I don't. You don't know what it all is going to tail. They might just tell you, "Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be this, that." Or you don't know until you're in it, and when you're
well,
in it, then you go, oh my God, what did I do to myself?
What did the hell did I sign up for? Yeah, it's the whole amnesia thing too. It would be nice to, what you hear the speeches, that's why this is the hardest, planet to
Yep.
incarnate in, because you go into a low density, you don't remember anything, and then we're a food source apparently for archons, for fourth dimensional beings.
Yeah.
And that's a thing too that we should probably touch on, because I took a few notes, because we we really need to protect our energy. It's like as much as we need to work on our energy, we also need to protect our energy. If you think about it, we protect our cars, right? We protect our houses, right? We lock the front door. We make sure we got, car alarms. We do all of this stuff. We make sure our windows are rolled up, right? When it rains and everything. But yet, as energetic, powerful entities and souls, we walk around naked, and we don't really even realize that we're actually a food source. Our energy is actually,
So that's why people have these attachments that actually create a negative energy like suffering or pain or um, any number of things. And
absolutely. And then you add when you sleep at night. That's another thing. And
yeah.
this is something that, believe it or not, all of the years that I've been doing this, that I really didn't even realize, that I never really addressed, is that when we sleep, we're even more susceptible to the astral plane, to these archons, to things, and we don't have that memory usually.
Right, right,
When we
right.
wait, and so that's another thing. It's a whole separate issue that you people need to kind of get into, to when
Were
they.
you with me when we talked? I don't know if have you talked with Chief with me at all or no?
Yeah,
Oh, you did.
yes, with
Okay, because
Chief, and then with White Fox.
okay.
It's
Oh yeah, excellent, excellent. Okay, well, one of the things that Chief brought up that I wasn't aware of, and it's pretty disturbing, and I'd like other people to know it. They have actually weaponized the astral plane, which sounds absolutely crazy, but
it
apparently
does.
there are billions of earthbound spirits in the astral plane that apparently I don't know why they haven't crossed over or they haven't, done something else. But when they're in that plane of existence, they require energy and they're cut off from their spiritual energy. And so they're going to suck whatever energy they can from those of us who are living and have our spirit and soul energy in us.
We're,
And so they like to create us, to get us angry, sad, fighting, arguing.
the more they lower our vibration, the easier we are to feed on.
The easier it is to get more attachments too.
Exactly. So that's why keeping that in mind and trying not to get that freaked out, the higher that we can raise our vibrations, and
Oh,
the
I,
more we can kind of shake them off, because we can reach a certain level, which is not easy to do, especially right now, that they don't have access to us.
well, people say raise your vibration, raise your vibration. I think there's a lot of people out there that you say that to, and you go, "What the heck are they talking about? What do you mean raise my vibration? How do
I
I
know.
do that?" So, if somebody said that to you, what would you tell them?
Well, you really kind of have to have a certain mindset. Nobody can kind of, like make you believe it. But if I mean, everybody knows how they feel when they're depressed. When you're not feeling very good, right? Nothing stays the same. We're energy, so we go up and down. So
Mhm.
if you just kind of tell yourself, well, you when you're in a good mood and when you're in a bad mood, um, you can go either way with it, and that's your vibration. You're literally
It's a
vibrating at a
free
certain
will
level.
choice to some extent.
And so yeah, so what happens is, if you listen to, like, let's say, positive music, right? If a good song comes on the radio, and then all of a sudden you kind of perk up a little bit and you kind of start to feel a little bit better, you're raising your vibration. Well,
Music is frequency and it can raise your vibration. But I understand too that there are a lot of songs out there that have negative vibrations in them. So you have to be very careful what you choose to listen to.
Well, that's another thing that I've even was guilty of, in that I've kind of like really taken a whole separate look at what I let into my field. And that's the type of music that I listen to. That's the type of programming I watch. Like I used to love to watch, a lot of horror shows. A lot
Oh
of
my God.
a
No.
lot of type of the like supernatural, like
Mhm.
it's a good show and everything. It's like, but if you think about it, if they're talking about demons and dark entities and all of this stuff,
You're
you're
opening
kind
stuff.
of you kind of put your vibration there, and it's a lower vibration. I mean, everybody likes to get scared every once in a while, but when you stay there and you stay at that level, you're vibrating at a lower level. In fact, if you go to some of these platforms where they show a lot of movies these days, if you really take a look, 95% of these movies that they have out there, they're either vampires or blood or war related. It's like they're all negative. Like even under the comedy category, it's like try to find a couple of good comedies. It's almost like they take your options away from you. So you really have to go out of your way to find content that uplifts you, that literally when it's done makes you feel, like a Rocky movie. So you feel a lot better after a Rocky movie than the Blair Witch Project, right? When you're walking out of the movie, that's
I didn't see
that's a,
that one.
that's a vibration that you're at. And so
Yeah.
yeah, we have to
Wait,
really
it's my understanding that the CIA is very involved in the movie industry,
Hollywood,
and they love to play with people's emotions. And
that's a
they
whole separate it's a whole separate show that we can do about spell casting, about music, about the subtle little things that they do to keep our vibrations low, and even to keep men and women fighting with each other, and just going to war, and just apocalyptic movies,
Yeah.
you know
And
ju-
difficult finances always are a frequent thing that gets couples in arguments and so on.
the slave debt monetary system,
Yeah, exactly.
keeping us just above poverty, is not an accident, because if you're stressed out about your bills, you're not going to be thinking very positive, happy thoughts. And so that's all, again, it's a whole separate subject, but that's by design. But if you empower yourself and you realize that I'm not going to watch, of course, mainstream news, I'm not going to watch, certain types of
I
content.
haven't watched TV for over 20 years.
Well, you're a lot further ahead than me, Gail, because I was it was about a year and a half that I finally cut the cable cord, and now I just go and watch the certain content that I want, and it's made a big difference with me,
Oh,
personally.
and you know what happens too over time? You go back and you watch one of the, or you're at somebody's place and they have one of the TV series on or something like that. And I remember seeing that, and I hadn't watched for eons. And I'm going, oh my God, really? They have that on? Some of the things that they put on, they wouldn't even do that 20 years ago. And but it's like anything goes now, and we don't even know what subliminal messages and whatever flickers that they have going on in the screen itself that affects our energy field as well. So there's
Absolutely, it's like the deck is stacked against us so bad these days. It really is that it's like, forget about trying to get to our issues that we all have. It's like just on a daily basis to keep your vibration at a certain level is a real challenge right now. So when you approach it that way, you have to have like a little bit of a game plan, because again, just like, let's say Arnold Schwarzenegger, right, with the physique that he got. Once he got to that physique, he couldn't just stop. It's not like you're there and you're fine. It's like
there's a maintenance program.
you have to go back and maintain it and everything. So you really have to look at each day as okay, what am I going to do today to keep my vibration up? And it usually involves some type of exercise, some type of walking around, movement, put good music on, gratitude,
Yeah,
looking
very
around
important.
is like that raises your vibration. Have a playlist and look at that. Like, is it all good music? Is it positive music? We'll get a positive playlist.
Do you
Because
know, I know there's an app out there. I haven't used it myself, but I know there's an app out there. I've been told about it that will change any Hang on. Sorry about that. It's an automatic come on thing. Anyway, what was I saying?
An app,
An
an automatic app.
that'll change it any music to 432 rather than whatever it might be at. And 432 is a very it's basically the vibration of nature.
It's a solfeggio frequency.
Yeah, which is another way of raising your vibration. All the solfeggio frequencies, from what I understand, are beneficial for people's energy.
You know what that reminds me of? Do you know what the Vatican did to the music frequency?
They changed it to 440.
Yeah, they changed it because they knew it was disharmonious to us. It cut us off from our heart chakra and kept us in a discord. And thousands of musicians back in the day protested. And you have to think to yourself, what the hell does the Vatican care about our frequency? Because they know. They don't want us to get to the higher levels of ourselves because it matters. So again, like I said, the deck has been stacked against us. But once you kind of get wise to this and you have these certain go-tos, you can keep yourself above the Mendoza line and, you know, rise above these frequencies that kind of tend to pull us down and entrain us on an upward motion. And because again, everyone's going to get pulled down, especially in this day and age, to negative vibrations, and you can keep going down further. Like, I hate to say it, alcohol lowers your vibration
very much.
And that's why a lot of these archons and demons, they sit in bars and wait for people to get drunk, and they just feed off of you.
Yes. Remember, White Fox had his shaman was saying that because he sees energy, he sees them actually. You know, he's been in a bar and he's actually seen the spirits go attached to somebody, and before they get out of the bar, usually they're in a fight.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's why I'm glad we got on this, because I wanted to say too that a lot of people think that every time they get a thought in their head, that it's their thought, that they're thinking they thought it. When the truth is that you can have spirits that can literally whisper things in your ear and put thoughts in your head and try to get you into a depressed mood, because again, that kind of props up their energy for a food source. Yep. So monitor your thoughts, because thoughts are things, and don't absorb the thought when it happens. Go, whoa, wait a second. Why am I, beating myself up, or why am I thinking of that?
You should go, delete. That's not my thought. That came from where did that come from?
And that pisses them off. And you can literally, at that moment, you see, because we have free will, they can
rebuke you.
They can put the suggestion into your head. But if you're kind of smart enough to sit back and go, well, wait a second. Why did I just think that? That's a negative thought, and you can actually stop it right there, instead of getting into a downward spiral motion and then thinking that's just you being in a bad mood. No.
Well, being consciously aware that this happens would help people a lot. Just knowing that exactly. Those thoughts might not be their own.
Like, why did I just think of a negative memory from my childhood? It's like, well, because negative archons that know you and can read that part of us know that that's one of our triggers. And so that's why right when you're in a good mood, or you're about to go do something very positive, they'll try to throw a wrench in there, because again, the higher you raise yourself up, the less hanging fruit we are, and the less access that they have to us. And that's again why, like I said, when we sleep, we're so susceptible to that's why most people, no matter what you do during the day, you can literally wake up feeling like you ran a marathon, and with very, very low energy, because you just spent the whole night being fed on and having nightmares. And it's just because our bodies are laying there, our energy and our spirits, they never sleep. So you can do certain things before you go to sleep, like put yourself in the white light, say a prayer, acknowledge the fact that you might be a food source, and try to put up a barrier. You can keep shungite by your bed.
That's what I do. I keep orgonite by my bed to help with the EMF frequencies too, which also I think impact our ability to communicate with our higher self as well as we might like to.
5G
Um,
is not an accident. It's another
it's a
weaponization
weapon.
against
Yeah.
our energy. Absolutely. So just kind of empowering ourselves again like that. We have this powerful energy field that it's more powerful than we realize. And again, start treating that like our homes, like our cars, and start to consciously put up protection around us. And it'll make a difference. You'll feel it. You'll see it. And you got to have go-tos, things when you start to feel down and depressed. If you recognize it, you can turn it the other way, or you can let it spiral, because that's what usually happens, when you can stop yourself, even just going and taking a hot shower sometimes, getting up and taking a walk. I wrote a few things down here. Music, white light, gratitude. Another great thing, Gail, is grounding, is to
Oh,
put your feet on the earth and bare feet, and that just sends a charge through you. It sends all of the negative energy into Mother Earth, and in 15 minutes it's like going to the sauna, it's like going to a spa.
do you know, I saw someone who took one of those little electrical meters where it's got the red and the black
Yeah.
end on it, and
Yes.
somebody tested like with your rubber shoes on
Yeah.
and versus with your bare feet, and the electrical
night
difference was phenomenal.
Night and day, Gail. See, rubber soled
And that's
shoes
how we heal our bodies, and yet we're
yes.
blocking the healing
Who's the
by
who's the guy that does the sun? Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The guy, he's like he's a truther, but he's like he does all of the sun episodes. Um, anyway, he came out with
I don't know his name.
a line of shoes right now that have the copper
Oh, they have, yeah, for
earthing shoes.
maximizing grounding and earthing.
They're
Yeah,
earthing shoes, and so
yeah,
I recommend that, because you can't really walk on bare feet a lot, but
yeah. Not in here in Arizona, you can't. That's for sure.
right, with all of the scorpions and snakes out there for sure. But like back
Toad
in the
heads,
yeah,
little
so
those little
back in the day, they had moccasins, and their feet were mostly on the ground. So, but they also have earthing mats, earthing blankets, and you can even make your own at home. So that would be something else I would recommend to people. And like you said, if you Google or you go on YouTube and you do some searches, there's all kinds of people that did all kinds of experiments with these meters, and that you can kind of prove it to yourself that these are different things that we can do to protect ourselves and empower ourselves and put these barriers up. I mean, people with chronic illnesses, when they get these grounding mats and these earthing um, mattresses, you can put copper down. Um, all of their symptoms start to clear up. I mean, not only do you have a better protective sleep, but there's a lot of testimony out there that all kinds of different neuropathies start to go away too. You know, um, people that
grounding is so important. People have no idea how important it really is.
every time I go to the lake and I run, as much as I get a good, feeling from doing that, I spend 15 minutes. I walk over to a bench. A lot of the people look at me, what the hell's that guy doing? It's like, I don't care. I take my socks off, I take my sneakers, and I put my feet on the ground. And 15 minutes later, you can really feel it. It makes a big difference.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Sun gazing, that's another thing. They tell us to put sunglasses on, and
and slather on
and lotion.
poison.
It's like, no, the opposite. The opposite. Look at the sun. That you're getting vitamin D. You're letting it hit your skin. It raises your vibration. Just
Light
staring.
codes.
Exactly. We got the shungite. Uh, keeping a silver coin in your pocket. Believe it or not, a pure silver coin acts as a barrier. Like we were talking about the shungite, with the EMF, everyone has to use their cell phone, of course. But you either get one of these. This is tiger's eye. You can put some shungite in your pocket, a silver coin. These all act as energetic barriers, so we're not getting drained by all of the EMF fields and the Wi-Fi we're pretty much swimming in right now.
Exactly. And I have a friend who I interviewed. They call him Puffy, I think, and he had come up with a whole a suit, blankets, and that were EMF protection.
Yes.
And I tell you right now, that really is pretty important. But it just wasn't something that was very practical for Arizona because you'd be soaking wet. You'd be sweating too much. But anyway, I want to show you this. This is one of the shungite pieces. Let me see. How do I get in front
Oh,
of the
wow. Yeah. Do you keep that next to
Yeah,
your
there
bed
you
at night?
Well, this one I have one just like it that I keep in the bedroom. Yes. And, but this one I keep right here by my computer.
I was going to say to keep stuff by your Wi-Fi next to your computer. I keep the shungite in my pocket because of the phone. So yeah, there's like we're never going to be 100% protected from this stuff.
I used to have a shungite necklace, and unfortunately, the necklace broke. And it was actually sent to me by one of my listeners, which I am very grateful for, and that was Sarah Bowman, I believe it was. Yeah. Anyway, and then this is what I put right next to my. It fell down, it broke, but this was a little pyramid, shungite. This is shungite from Russia,
Nice.
and I set this right next to my router.
Yes, that's what everybody should do. I mean, the best thing is to shut it off at night so you'll sleep better. But at least if you put something next to your router or next to your Wi-Fi, it will act as a barrier from it literally just bathing in your house.
And then I have another piece. This was supposed to be to hang on to, but
I'm trying to find the guy that everybody should go to. This is the guy. I can't believe I forgot his name. Stefan Burns, right? Stefan Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that guy? He's the sun guy that's always talking about the solar flares.
I think I do. I'm not sure. I don't watch him regularly, but
well, anyway, he has a line of these grounding shoes with the copper in them, and this guy is one of the good guys out there. So I would recommend to people, if you're going to be walking around all day, it's something to consider, because like you said, the rubber on our soles definitely act as a barrier from us connecting with the earth, which makes a big difference as well.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Are they very pricey, the shoes?
No, believe it or not, they were only like $100, and they're pure leather. They have the copper inside. There we go.
Oh, cool.
Our moderator is right on top of these things. And another thing too, they kind of like spread your feet out a little bit too. Like our toes are supposed to be a little bit more spread out. When they're all pushed together, it's not good. Yep, there we go. With the copper plug inside. Sometimes he has sales and they're around $100, but I'm telling you, for the price, and this guy is he's one of the good ones out there. So as soon as I get enough saved, I'm going to order myself a pair of them.
I want a pair too. I've seen them before, and I wanted to get a pair. And I usually don't pay that much for my shoes, but
I know. But supposedly they'll last a real long time. They're real leather. They're real sturdy, and a lot of the reviews that I've read on them, people are they're
tree hugger.
Well, that's another thing that if you can do. I mean, if you can go hug a tree, if you can put your back up against a tree for about 15 or 20 minutes, they say that'll straighten your energy right out. So I hope I didn't stray too far.
Really? I didn't know that one. That's interesting. You haven't strayed far at all. It's all relevant.
Oh yeah, you see, it's funny too, because the whole tree hugger thing, I used to make fun of all of those guys and everything.
Until you find out later, you go, "Oops."
The trees are such powerful energy.
Oh, and they're such awesome entities. Really, they have consciousness, and they help. They're very. I mean, this sounds kind of crazy, but they're family oriented. They help each other with their root systems. If there's a dying tree next to in the vicinity of another tree, their roots, the healthy tree will reach out and try to help.
No shit.
Honest to God, yeah.
Not surprising. It really doesn't surprise me. Like I said, supposedly, they're the oldest entity on the planet, the trees. And as you know, back in the day, they used to be miles high. And
I was just going to say that. And they cut them up, and it looks like a bluff. And there's a couple of places here
out in Arizona,
in Arizona that look like it looks like it was a tree at one time. Um,
Well, it was. They say the
yeah,
dragons used to live up in them. So there's been a lot of
yeah.
different resets too, which is again, these are all different topics that I'd love to come back. It's kind of like that's why I made sure I just stuck because I could go off into a different subject and talk for an hour about all of these things. But yeah, really kind of protecting yourself, especially at night when you go to sleep, is really important too. Like I was having these
See, look
crazy.
at what this network allows trees to send nutrients to each other, especially to saplings growing in the shade. I just find that absolutely amazing that trees do that. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, so keep going.
No, no,
I
no.
just
I
want
actually made a video where about trees that I said I went from weightlifter Guido to tree hugger, and I named it.
to.
I found a special tree along the path, and I call him Arthur. And if anyone wants to go to my channel, I actually hug Arthur, and I give Arthur props. And it's like sadly, there's times when I'll be home and everything, and Arthur will pop into my head, and I'll be like, now I'm even thinking about Arthur when I haven't been to the lake for a while. He's like, hey, where you been? So no, they have a consciousness all their own, and when I can get my back up against any tree, it's like a Reiki treatment.
That's what I do. I have a meditation tree that I go to that I climb up and we climb a little ways, and then I get onto there's this tree. I have a picture on my Facebook
Nice.
page about. I love it there, and the branches go out like this, and the main tree is here, and there's a branch out this way and a branch out this way, and then I just sit right in between there,
No,
and I love it.
and then you get a group of trees, like if
Mhm.
you go into like a forest or something, and it's like there's such a collective energy that's created there. It's like if you can spend 15 or 20 minutes in nature, even like surrounded by trees, it's like a Reiki treatment. It is an energetic cleanse. So like I said, as great as the Reiki is, which it really does, there's lots of different ways to kind of cleanse yourself, even a hot shower. When they say cleanliness is next to godliness, right? That old cliche. It's like I remember there were times when I was depressed. I wasn't working. A couple of days went by. It was kind of little voice was like, well, once you get in the shower, just go take a shower. I don't need, just get in the shower. 20-minute hot shower, you come out, you feel better. It's
Yeah.
like just like little things like that. It's never one thing. It's just a lot of little things. And so when you're again, everybody's energy fluctuates. And so put on a good music, get down and go take a walk, go take a shower, ring some bells like Jenny Lee likes to say.
I'm a tree hugger too. Or a tree meditate in right almost right in the tree is so cool the way
That's
those
right.
trees are made there.
Those
What
tree
about
huggers.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Gail. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say there's one other topic that I'd like to bring up before we run out of time. It's already
Yeah, it's already
40. We got about 15, not quite 15 minutes left. But what about quantum entanglement? Would you explain that to people? What does that mean? Because it relates to people cutting cords and all that kind of thing. So take us there and from a Reiki perspective.
Okay, great point, Gail. Well, quantum entanglement is basically right. We're in a holographic universe, right? Which means that everything is connected, right? If you split up a hologram, the image will be on each piece. Okay. Now, like, I'll just give a quick example. If have you ever thought about somebody and then 10 minutes later that they called?
Yes.
Okay, well, that was an example of quantum entanglement. By you just thinking about somebody, you literally sent them a mental thought because all energy is connected. And then there's an example of it. And it doesn't matter where you are. You can be across you can be on the other side of the world.
This
And
explains distance healing, doesn't it?
exactly. Back in the day, as long as, and that's why you kind of have to watch your thoughts because if you
Yeah.
there you go, spooky action at a distance. Exactly. That's why when you think of somebody, and a lot of times they wind up calling, it's not an accident. It's not magical. You literally sent that thought that got to them, and it registered, and it made them pick up the phone and call you. And it's just an example. And that's why the
That's
distance
what telepathy is all about too, right?
Exactly. And back in the day when I was doing the Reiki, of course, one of the things that they teach you when you get to the master level is how to do distant healing, right? Now, I'll be honest with you, I was very skeptical with the distant healing. And what I would tell people is that if you feel that this energy doesn't hit you and that you don't receive something, you don't have to, compensate me for what we did. And not one time, Gail, did anybody not say that they didn't receive it. So every time that I did a distant healing with somebody, because it's all about intention, as long as they know that it's coming and that they're open to receive it, they will receive it. And so 20, 30, I forget how many I did. Some of my best feedback was with people that were on the other side of the country, as far as what they reported back. Um,
I remember I had a friend and she was going to do distance healing. We were in Mesa, Arizona at the time, and she had a client that wanted distance healing. And she was in Egypt, okay? And the two of them together, it was two people, both of them were lifetime meditators and healers, hands-on healing type. Anyway, they sent it to Egypt and she was healed. And we're running out of time and we're going to have to call a wrap for this one because we got a
yeah.
late start. So
Well, yeah, I was going to
unfortunately,
say it was the time flew, Gail,
I
but it
told you
was,
it would.
yeah,
You know,
I
it's
can't believe a whole hour went by.
yeah.
But yeah, so if anybody wants to look, I do have a YouTube channel called Mathis Chronicles, and I have a lot of these different things addressed. I do have a Reiki um, uh, uh, show. I do have a Reiki that I go into a lot of the distant healing. And one of my friends, Carlos, that was actually dying in the hospital of cancer, I kind of give our text messages back and forth, and it really shows you how how powerful it is.
Fantastic. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're going to have to go. It says we're on the red clock already. So
All right,
um,
guys,
thank you so much, Christopher. It was very
it was
interesting
a
and
pleasure,
very
Gail.
covered a lot of good information, and I hope people enjoyed it. And we'll see everybody again next week. So
Thanks
thank you.
again, Gail. I appreciate it, and your moderator too as well. Have a great night, everybody. Stay
Thank you,
safe out
Race.
there. Protect that energy.
Definitely.